Hello and welcome to Epic Battlecry. This is the place where we cut through crap to bring you the real deal in the gaming industry. Today, it is Thursday, July 17th of the year 2014. And I'm here with Brent Adams and Daniel Kaiser.
Hello. It's DK minus Chisel, actually, from this point forward.
Okay, I'm here with Brent Adams. He will be the only one commenting today.
Have I given you an update on my rap album, by the way?
No, thankfully.
There is no update, actually.
Oh.
It got pushed back to 2015.
That worked out great.
No, that's... Feels like it's on the right track.
And every other thing
as long as it keeps getting delayed.
It's still called Bitches and Codes, but it's been delayed until 2015.
When was
it so you can work on it to make sure that it's everything we expect?
That's right.
Well,
you need time to polish.
There was a leaked version of my non-auto-tune lyric that came out.
Oh, yeah,
and,
that's awkward.
Along with Britney Spears, and so I'm working on recuperating from that and actually getting the track right.
So in other words, you're also moving to the washed out Vegas act part of your career too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got an interesting question here from Arturo Espinoza, and he's at JagoOU, and he says at EpicBattleCry, would you mind playing games with ads? Like a Coca-Cola sign in Call of Duty or Heavy Rain, etc. What if it makes the game cheaper? I think that's actually a pretty good question. Brent, what do you think? Are you cool with having ads in your games?
I am okay with it in concept. Like so many other things, it is. There's degrees. There's a threshold. As with so many things in life, there is a threshold. So as an example, there's for whatever reason, this is just what's coming to mind right now. There's a moment in a Smallville episode. There's a moment in a Smallville episode where Clark rolls up to something or other that's happening in this, brand new fucking Toyota truck, and there's like this slow-mo kind of hero shot for no reason at all, like as he's like, driving up to a police crime scene or something, and slow-mo shot of the truck rolling up, and then, close up on the Toyota as the door opens, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like my wife and I are watching it, we just kind of look at each other. We're like, guess who paid a little bit extra for that? So anyway, but it was one of those things. It was like, it was a few seconds and it was over with. It was done, and then we're on to.
It's like prom night.
Clark solving the mystery of the week. By contrast with that, I would point to, say, I don't know, Transformers: Age of Extinction.
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
As an example, I mean, because that movie is nothing but fucking product placement. They're like, look, we hit a truck full of Bud Lights, and of course they're scattered all over the street now, and you can see really, really easily that they're Bud Lights. But that's not enough. Ice cold. We need to have a character pick one up and take a sip of one for no reason at all, and then we'll throw in a fucking Beats product placement as well, and probably some fucking Chinese brand of bottled water that I can't even read the label of. But my point is that you can do it
so good.
You can do it in ways that is palatable, and then you can do it in ways that Michael Bay does it. So I am not against it in principle, but in execution, I will have something to say.
Real quick though, before we go on, what do you think about the last part of it? Like, if it makes the game cheaper, does that change your mind at all? Like, I mean, is it something where if it takes it from $60 to free, then yeah, I'm okay with it. If it's like, if there's ads in the game, then it only, like you'll pay $10 less or $15 less, I'm like, I got to think about it. Yeah.
Well,
DK,
and that's what I was going to say. It's not going to make the game cheaper. It's going to make the game more profitable. That's why they're doing this type of stuff.
I didn't pay any less for my goddamn Transformers Age of Extinction ticket.
There's a lot of mobile games that absolutely do the opposite of that. They do, the game essentially is cheaper or sometimes free because they make enough off of the ad revenue. So I mean, I think there is some precedent that it could happen. There are times when I really want to pay you $1 and get rid of these ads, Well, and you usually can. See, that's that is
not
the
all
thing
the time.
That is good.
Like, not all the time. There are some games that they're only free and ad supported, and they don't give the option to turn the ads off because they actually make more money from the ads than you paying the $1. And I'm kind of like that kind of bugs me.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. What do you think, though, just as a whole, like in gaming? Is it something that bugs you, or is it something you'd be okay with?
Well, product placement is key, and something that is an emerging sector of advertising that more and more companies are getting invested in to try to find
You're
unique
reading
and clever
Wikipedia,
ways.
aren't you? Like that's like the Wikipedia definition of product placement.
No, that's just how I talk.
I'm just kidding.
Wait, your Wikipedia?
I have a secret, boys. No, but
God, that sounded ominous.
yeah, no, but I mean,
Something you never want to hear a camp counselor say.
Especially while you're on a camping trip. But you don't need a lantern. Anyway,
it feels a little too real. It feels like you've said this before.
as he pulls out a black duffel bag. Oh, this is getting creepy now. Keep talking, Jesus.
Those aren't hot dogs.
Oh my God.
So anyway,
You just went Crystal Skull with it.
My point is that when it is done tastefully, like you said, but at the same time, it's just becoming more and more pervasive that people want to have product placement in their films, in their television shows, in their games, and I think on the whole, it's actually a better form of advertising in the long haul. Like one of the side projects that I'm doing now that I'm unemployed is like looking at developing different shows and like if I do an outdoor adventure show, like it makes sense to have products that would appeal.
Urban Outfitter or something like that.
To those
or
people.
Whatever, you know.
So in a way, you have an opportunity to have more defined things because like you're watching a football game and like I can't tell you how many car commercials come on. I'm not in the market for a car. I'm not trying to buy a car. They're wasting their money on me trying to buy a car because I'm not looking to do that. I might eventually, and so, top of the mind awareness is one thing, but product placement in a way that says, hey, if you're doing this thing, this is where this comes in handy, or this is what makes sense if it's done well. Now, if it's Transformers and like for no reason at all, a bunch of Bud Lights hit the street, but I think integrated marketing or properly done product placement is actually more effective and more valuable to everyone involved if it's done right. Can that apply to video games?
Sure.
Yes, I think it could. I think it does have to depend on the game, though, because if I'm playing Mass Effect and the game is set, hundreds of years in the future or whatever, I mean, what products, like, okay, I guess Gatorade lasted all these years and Shep needs a drink or something like that.
Oh, come on. There's no way that Gatorade's ever going away.
That's true. Win from within.
In fairness, though, again, if they do it well, like the one thing I kind of hate in movies and in some degree in video games is where you'll see like a soda machine that says fucking soda, like instead of seeing like Coke or Pepsi. I think that actually that takes me a little out of it. Exactly. Yeah. Like now what I hate
as opposed to coming up with like a fictitious brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like if they came up with a fictitious brand
cigarettes or Red Apples or whatever.
Exactly, like something that sort of works within the world that you're in. That's okay, but even then, I still kind of think like if you're supposed to be running around Chicago, like in current time or 10 years from now or something like that, and you walk across a soda machine and it's fucking some generic cola, that sort of takes you out. I mean, you want to see a brand that because that. Just whether you even realize it or not, I think that makes you feel like that world is a little more realistic or not. Now, the example I was going to give of the opposite of that is exactly what Brent said. I mean, Age of Extinction, aside from just being domestic terrorism, was the fact that it was just so painfully like, hey, we can change it into anything, like this $199 Beats pill speaker or whatever it was, like literally they almost like paused to have like the little pop-up bubble on the side, like available now at your local, Best Buy or whatever. Like, I mean, it was that painful. And the same thing with the beer thing. Like, I don't like when they sort of almost break the fourth wall to a certain degree and like, I'm going to stop and take a slow drink out of this, or I'm going to pull the car up real nice and slow just so the logo, comes right into frame. There's really a line there.
It's almost like really old television where like they would kind of come to the end of the scene and like the actor would just like walk off the set like over to like a product stand and like try to sell you cornmeal or something.
It really was. It's very much like that. Now the last thing I was going to say though is my problem is I don't think it's like these companies rarely have that delicacy with these sorts of things. They either don't do it or they go way overboard with it. And to me, someone like an Activision with a Call of Duty, if they start really doing this, fairly regularly, it's going to be like Age of Extinction. It's going to be all over
like
the fucking place.
One of their fucking map, like a multiplayer map, is going to take place like in the fucking Budweiser factory.
Yeah. But if you're playing like even if it's
circle around the Ford Taurus, it's got 4-wheel drive. No, it doesn't.
Do they still have? Do they still make the Ford Taurus?
I don't know.
It's like the Ford F500.
I thought it was the Fusion now or whatever.
Ford.
I think they still make the Taurus.
Anyway.
Yeah, they still make it, I believe. But it's they changed. Anyway, whatever. But the whole point is
details.
The whole point is, I do think that I think there actually is some point of it being in there. And then the last thing was the whole like making the game cheaper.
Yeah.
I do actually think that we're getting into this time now where ad revenue for these companies is becoming as profitable, if not more, than just selling some of these games outright, especially when we talk about mobile gaming. I actually do like the idea that we're starting to see more and more either free-to-play games or, free-to-play is probably the best example of some of these games on, like, consoles, stuff that we never would get it on consoles. We'd get it on our little iPhone game or the iPad or something like that, but we wouldn't get it in these big games. And that's starting to happen more and more and more.
Yeah.
And if it's something where, like, realistically, if it's something where between levels, they did this with Wipeout once, although it didn't make the game cheaper, but I was really kind of pissed because I thought it should. But like in between, when Wipeout would load levels in, I think it was in Europe, I don't think it was in the States, but anyway, it would play a commercial.
Yeah. Which
blew me away because I was like, okay, so in the middle of trying to load the game, you have time to download the fucking video to show me whatever, okay. But anyway, but they would show commercials in between there. Now, I'll be honest, if I was waiting for the map to load up for Titanfall and they're showing me a commercial for Mountain Dew in the meantime, that, and I pay the same price, I don't like. But if I'm paying, I'll be honest, if it's $10 cheaper, I'm probably okay with that. I mean, if I can save $10 and I still have to wait the same amount of time, it's not like I'm waiting a longer period of time,
right.
But in a time where I would normally just be staring at a screen, of course they'll do the whole they'll turn the volume up plus
this edition of
10
Titanfall
dB
is brought to you by
yeah, so you have to reach for the remote to turn it down in between
I was gonna
levels.
say,
but I mean something like that I actually don't think is that necessarily that bad of an idea for both the user and the person the company trying to make money off of it. I mean it's as long as it doesn't detract from the experience. Like if it starts making where if it loads longer because it has to actually pull off the web some new ads or something, that's bullshit.
Well, and to me, that's the key. Either do smart product placement or just do it in a way that is just this is an ad. Like you're going to watch an ad. That's when I'm watching Colbert Report or something like that. Like he goes, "We'll be right back." I don't know what's going to come on. It could be Geico. It could be State Farm. It could be whatever. But I'm in the mode of well, there's an ad, so this is when I get up and go to the kitchen, or I'll just sit there and watch the ad or whatever. So if games started doing that type of stuff on loading screens, I'm not saying it would be a good thing, but I'm saying one or the other. Treat it as if this is an ad and this is part of the business now, or do it in a smart way to where the product placement and integration of the marketing is done in a way that considers the end user.
Just one real quick thing, because the example you're using there, though, the only problem with those kind of commercials, though, like commercials on TV, or an example I think is a good example is Hulu. I watch Hulu and Netflix. The thing I love about Netflix is no fucking commercials. When you're watching a TV series, you like to be able to just churn through them. You can watch them, you never see a commercial. Something like Hulu, I gotta be honest, it always is jarring. It's like watching regular fucking TV where I have to, sit between commercials. If I've got to play a video game where you have commercials,
if you have Hulu Plus?
Yes.
Okay.
If you that's the whole point. That's why that's why one reason I don't usually keep Hulu Plus for very long. I watch the series I want until it's over and then I turn it off. But anyway, the whole thing I'm going at though is what I was talking about. If you've already got to wait for a level to load, like on Titanfall on Xbox One. I mean, there's a pretty decent amount of time between loading maps between matches. I mean, if they've already got them pre-cached, they download them behind the scenes when it's updating the game or whatever, and they already have your Doritos ad and your Mountain Dew ad, and so it doesn't add time to the download or to the loading screen. It's not like you're waiting another 30 seconds like you do watching between TV shows that have commercials, where you can't get to the next content until you watch that. To me, that is kind of annoying, but if it's just sort of built in, I don't think that's bad, because you're really not
cheaper, or if it's
cheaper,
cheaper. Only
if you're just seeing it for no reason, I don't like that.
All right, so
if it's go ahead.
So here's the one monkey wrench that I will throw in this. And I realize that I may be in the minority, But by and large, I fucking hate commercials. Like, I find most of them to be the most annoying, ridiculous, and stupid things that have ever been created by mankind. And like when DVRs came around, like when I first got my TiVo and I was like, oh my God, I can like record this and then fast forward through the commercials. Or if I was watching something live, I would wait 18 minutes because on an hour-long program, there's usually about 18 minutes of commercials. I would wait to start watching it until it had recorded 18 minutes, which would mean I had enough buffer that I could fast forward through every commercial break. If I'm watching something on live TV and I have no buffer and a commercial comes on, I will fucking pause it and I will wait 6 minutes and then hit the play button and fast forward to the commercials, because I would rather sit there and like read news or catch up on email or something on my phone in silence for 6 minutes than watch commercials most of the time. That's how much I hate them. So
I'm with you there.
I'm probably not I'm not saying that everybody feels that way, but I'm saying that there are some people who are going to be like me.
I think more and more people feel that way because they feel empowered by the technology to do that. But
and that's what I was going to say.
And that's why product placement is so important, because you're seeing it within the content, not within a separation or a something on the outskirts of the content. You're actually seeing it within the content.
Yeah, I want to see.
And it goes back to that point I was making about you have to. It goes back to that point of it delays the content you really want to get to. Yeah. If it's an ad at the bottom of the screen when something's going on, I remember Fox used to always fucking do this for other TV shows. Like you'd be watching your show,
God.
And then they'd have the little whatever they call it, like the little quarter
the lower
panel
third
thing,
animation,
lower third. I got to be honest, I didn't mind those as much though, because honestly, I would just block them out. I would just watch the show. No, well, but hear me out, though. I would rather have that than another fucking 30-second commercial that I have to sit in between to get to the rest of the show.
To me, like, that distracts me from the narrative. Like, the commercial is a separate thing. It's over. Now I'm back in the story. And, like, I'm in the middle of, like, all right, the killer is somebody who has access to, oh, hey, come check out my new show. It's coming on next. See you guys later. Like that. I don't know.
I never got ones that were quite that, or I never noticed the ones that were quite that annoying. But I guess that's a great point, though. We all have different things that really bug us about this stuff, and maybe that's why we got all these different examples.
Last thing I'd say on this, because this turned actually into quite an in-depth topic here, but
who'd have thought?
There is an opportunity. Typically they're seen as obstacles, but I always try to find the opportunity within obstacles, and that is within gaming. If you're going to put ads in between load screens and stuff like that, there's an opportunity to do interactive ads because you're on an interactive medium. So maybe Mountain Dew commercials, and you think of their like crazy nature and stuff like that, could actually kind of be fun little mini games in between levels of Titanfall.
Like a choose your own adventure kind of thing, where like dude is, I don't know, like he's doing something at work he's not supposed to. He's fucking eating Doritos through his asshole.
Yeah. Do you go left or do you go right? Like this guy comes up right,
and like his eyes go real big, and it's like, what are you doing? And then like you have a choice. You can select, almost like a conversation tree in Mass Effect, and you can either select A or B, and then see how the commercial unfolds. That's a smart idea, DK.
Yeah, I mean, like something like that would be like, oh, here's your commercial break. You could choose to participate or not participate, but if it's interactive in nature, then that would actually be kind of an interesting sector to open up.
That's a smart idea.
So you want to become interactive in the middle of your uninteractive medium, though? Like, I mean, you want to be watching a TV show and you think you would then...
No, he's saying during games.
No, I'm saying
during a game. I'm
saying specific to video games. It opens up an avenue of marketing and an interactive type of marketing that doesn't exist right now. You're talking about having the commercials on your loading screens. I'm saying, what if you take it one step further?
What if you play the commercial?
Yeah, what if you play the commercial?
I don't know. Interesting point. That actually ended up being a pretty good question, Arturo. Appreciate you sending it our way. Make sure everybody you get us your questions. We of course take them from our Twitter feed, which is at EpicBattleX, and we are on, of course, YouTube, which is maybe possibly where you're listening to this, unless you're listening to the End of the Week podcast, which is also EpicBattleX on the old YouTubes. So make sure you get us your questions, and if you like news related questions, give us news related questions. If you like genitalia related questions,
my favorite topic.
You're off the ball.
Oh God.
Alrighty then. So we'll see you tomorrow.
I had nowhere to go. I was like,
and another episode comes to a crashing halt. Thank you, DK.